Once upon a time, in a quiet village at the foot of a towering mountain, there lived a young man. He was known throughout the village not for his strength, his wisdom, or his craft, but for his unmatched laziness. While others toiled in the fields or shaped goods with their hands, he spent his days lying under the same shady tree, dreaming of a life less demanding. But one fateful day, a wise monk visited the village. His gaze, sharp yet kind, fell upon the young man. With a gentle voice he spoke, "My son, I have a task for you. I need you to climb the mountain and bring me a single feather from its highest peak." "Climb the mountain? That's impossible. I'm far too lazy for such nonsense," he said. The monk smiled knowingly, unbothered by the response, and said, But the feather isn't on the mountain's peak. It lies in a cave on the other side, and the only way to reach it is by climbing to the top and descending the other side." The peculiar challenge stirred something deep within him. Against all odds, he agreed. The young man begins his climb. The journey was unlike anything he'd ever done. Each step burned his muscles, each gasp of air felt heavier than the last. Yet with every step, something began to change. The higher he climbed, the more exhilarated he felt. A strange sense of purpose filled him. When he finally reached the summit, he stood still, awestruck. The vastness of the world below seemed to whisper a truth he had never known. For the first time, he felt pride, not in having reached the top, but in having tried at all. But his journey was far from over. The descent was even more perilous than the climb. Rocks slipped beneath his feet and sharp edges threatened his balance. Yet with the image of the mysterious feather fixed firmly in his mind, he pressed on. And at last, he reached the cave. Inside, on a smooth rock bathed in sunlight, lay the feather, delicate, glowing, almost otherworldly. Holding the feather, he marveled at its beauty. But the journey was far from over. To return to the monk, he would need to climb back up the mountain. He thought about staying in the cave, giving in to his exhaustion. But then he remembered the view from the summit and the pride he'd felt. And with that memory, he rose, gathering his resolve. The climb back was even more grueling than before. His body ached, his mind screamed for rest. But his heart carried him forward. With every step, he proved to himself that he was capable of more than he had ever believed. The young man returns to the monk, collapsing at his feet but holding out the feather triumphantly. The monk smiles warmly, his eyes filled with pride. Monk said, "Well done, my son. You've learned an important truth today. Laziness is not a part of who you are. It is merely a challenge to be overcome." In that moment he understood. Laziness wasn't his identity. It was a wall he had built around himself, a barrier he had the strength to break. From that day forward, he embraced challenges as opportunities for growth. The shadow of his former self faded, replaced by someone who understood the value of effort and the rewards of perseverance. The feather beyond the mountain wasn't just a test, it was a lesson. Laziness is not a permanent state, but a hurdle waiting to be overcome. With ambition, perseverance, and belief, we can all uncover the strength within us to climb our own mountains.